Now, the rest of the story.
And just so we have some accountability for last night, I checked to see what the moisture was of this bale. And also, I was having a hard time believing, you know, okay, from the top to here, it's clearly longer stuff versus the stuff in the center from there to there. I had some clarity on that. Ryan had actually that much material from the bench before he went and cleaned up what was on the bottom. So all this material, it should have been drugged through the knives. He was told to. He says he did. I don't know. We go and feed this to the cows later. I guess we're going to see what it actually does. But, and I checked it last night. Notice that's in the part of the bale that was from the bench. 17%. I think it was about 14 when I checked that last night. And that's cold to the touch. That heats up really quick, so you'll know if the bale's heating or not. But let's actually try it. In the center there, 39.3. I'm feeling really good about myself for making the right call on not making the rest of the bottom now. So I was getting a little confused because Ryan had told me that this whole bale was off of the bottom. Well, this part wasn't. So if you guys just saw the video of me down at the bottom after that rain, that material down there, yeah, 33.7. There is no way if I would have made 100 bales, yes, I'm hoping for around 100 bales off the bottom, would have kept if I'd have made them over 30%, 36. So, let's see here. Oh yeah, she's sweating. Isn't that fun? Yeah, it's actually sweating and it's actually warm to the touch. So hold on here. If you give me just 30 more seconds of your time. Give it a second. Let's see what the temp is. 91. And you're supposed to wait longer than the few seconds, but 91 degrees. They say if it gets up to 100 and is it 120, it starts the feed quality starts deteriorating after you hit 120 degrees and up, and then your risk of it burning really starts to ratchet up. But this is destined for a bale feeder within the next hour or so. And we just dropped this bale in that's off the bottom ground that was sitting in the shed, and the knives, they definitely made a difference. Maybe not every single piece is chopped up, which isn't what you're going to get, but it falls apart so much easier. So it'll be interesting to see what the cows do as far as cleaning that up. You know, everybody's going to town on that hay. That is, I believe that's fourth cut. That's what I had left of that alfalfa field last night. And I obviously had it in the baler, and there's 8 bales left over in the field. Well, 8 bales is a load. So bringing home the leftover 9th bale is the way to go. And showing right here is a perfect example of trying to keep nice quality dry fodder throughout the year. Well, up until not that long ago, it wasn't really a priority for me. I always wanted to get the fodder used up by spring so we didn't have it laying around and rotting. But getting this stuff, it was made dry. It was a few days after we had combined it, so it had dried out. We hit it with the rotary mower, ground it up, and we were able to get it baled before it got any rain on it. And that's going to be the goal this year. Wherever we decide to make, the fodder is going to be made here. I mean, I know most people don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. But Ryan needs well over 100 bales. I'm probably figuring I'm going to be in that 150 range. So I mean, getting a bunch of bales around is pretty important. I can make a bunch down at my place is going to help, but my problem is I don't like hauling fodder, making fodder and then hauling it off the farm. Which, granted, it's going to my brother's place. It'll be spread on the fields out there, but I just don't like depleting the nutrients in the ground by hauling it out. But this stuff, like that pile there, we'll actually haul that out everywhere where we make the fodder this fall, and we'll get started on putting it all back. But having a place like wrapping them was a very, very important, huge test for us this past winter to see if we can get away with doing it. And basically putting a fodder bale in, it's just, you get used to doing it. Every time you put bales in, you put a fodder in. Having a place to lay, even though they have the grass, they like to lay on this fluffy fodder. And happy cows is kind of like saying, you know, happy wife, happy life. So if you take care of your cows, they'll take care of you ideally. But I'm happy to see everybody's eating good. The ground is really dried up since this morning, and hopefully we can ted tomorrow and we'll be on the next couple days. I can't tell you though how many times standing up at the end of this barn, how many times I've actually stood up here while I'm waiting for my grandma to get done milking and sit up against this gate and look out across the field. Now granted, this was the dry cow pasture, the second cow pasture, and then we had the dairy cow pasture up through there that has been turned to crops. And I mean, it was definitely a different landscape, and I know my grandparents never imagined it would look like this either. But to think back, I mean, as a kid, looking out to the end of this barn, and we'd be looking at, you know, a bunch of beef cows out here and some very productive row crops out where the dairy cows used to be. But to be fair, when my dad first started working for Grandpa, Dad actually helped fence in this field right here. You can see the waterway. That was actually a rectangular field. This actually was a field, a corn field at a time. But Grandpa needed another pasture for a second group of cows, because this was the second cow lot. I know this shed, people are probably wondering, do something with it, but our problem is we're kind of in the middle of the road. We don't know what we want to do with it. I mean, we're pretty well right in the center of deciding whether or not to tear it down and put something new in from here to the end of the concrete, or just re-tin it and go. But the problem is you're still dealing with all the old wood, the roof is going to have to be re-tinned or something, because the roof, that's going to be the next thing, is the roof's going to start leaking even worse. And, you know, just trying to decide where your money's best spent. And I know it's doing its job for a bale and a cattle shed, but it's not really doing a whole lot. So that's it from sitting at the end of the barn. I gotta keep moving down my list of random tasks for the day.